Hello! Happy Friday to you! It's Fan Friday today, but not yet. But yet, because our first question has to do with the fan question, Dan Morrow.
Yes. Yes?
I like to keep Dan on his show. So I'm suddenly calling on him. Roxy Streyer's here. Daniel Radford.
Yeah.
2 days in a row. I have you guys. This is exciting
so
for me.
excited I didn't change clothes.
Me too.
Me too.
I never
Long
night.
Yeah. Basically, we had a slumber party for you. For you. We did it for you. We had a slumber
You're welcome.
party. There were pillow fights. All of it was happening.
Ice cream.
Braided
each other's hair.
We did do some braiding. Oh, God, I do miss slumber parties.
Yeah.
They were fun.
Did you do that?
Did you do
Dan?
slumber parties?
You kind of raised an eyebrow.
They were the sleepovers,
Yeah.
but it was mostly, like silly string and pizza, monster movies, and
Video
farting.
games.
Just farting, yeah. So very, very similar. Speaking of farting, we're going to talk about most rewatchable movies. So this comes from a question from Slam Boys 1988, which is awesome, who asks, what is the most rewatchable movie of all time? Collider did an article in 2018 of the 29 most rewatchable movies. There are a number of movies on there, but they list some. Goodfellas, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Anchorman, Shaun of the Dead, Social Network. Really? Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, The Matrix, Big Lebowski, and Mean Girls. One of these things is doing their own thing. Because when I think of a rewatchable movie, and you guys weigh in with this, it's usually something that's very light. It's very fun. There's been on occasion a movie like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind that I watched a lot.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily fully light and fun. But I wouldn't think of The Social Network.
No, me neither.
A house cleaning movie, maybe?
Yeah.
Because it's so dialogue heavy, you can
Yeah.
just do other things while they're reading court transcripts or whatever.
I could rewatch
what that
The
movie
Social
is.
Network anywhere, anytime. That one for me is probably, other than Mean Girls, is the most rewatchable on this list. That
interesting.
totally is my alley. For me, Goodfellas is not as rewatchable. I love the movie, but I can't wake up and watch Goodfellas and then go about my day. It's a lot. It's a lot.
So I feel that way about The Social Network. Yeah, I do. But I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of what Facebook means now.
I think it's taken on a new
you know?
meaning now. It used to be kind of a great Aaron Sorkin script about technology today, and it's slowly progressing into becoming a horror movie.
Yeah. No, for sure, really.
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. It's one of those movies that the meaning is changing over time, and it's becoming like the origin story
Yeah.
for
The
some
end
pretty
of it
terrible
all.
things. Yeah, of these, for me, Shaun of the Dead is the one that I have rewatched the most. There was a period in college where I literally watched it once a week, easily, sometimes more. I've seen it so many times. I 100% sign off. Jurassic Park, so many times. Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah,
when
I was
a
going to
kid.
say, how many
I
times
watched
have you
a
seen
lot.
Jurassic Park?
Yeah. Oh, total in my life?
Yeah.
I couldn't. 50, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Really?
Jaws, I've seen more than that.
I don't know if I've seen any movie 50 times.
Oh, I definitely have. I've definitely seen, and I've talked about it before, I've definitely seen Mortal Kombat at least 200 times.
Yes.
I have definitely
That's a real
seen,
number?
That's a conservative estimate.
Wow.
I've definitely watched Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
I watched that one so much when I was a kid, I wore the tape out.
Are you a turbo or an ozone?
Turbo.
Yeah.
He can make things float.
Yeah.
He can dance on the ceiling.
That's fair.
Turbo.
Yeah. All of that tracks.
Da 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 da.
I have lots of ideas on that.
So, like you, Roxy, I've seen Mean Girls quite a lot and enjoy it. But I went through this period for some reason, in its different phases of my life. I think as a kid, I really did rewatch Star Wars a ton, the first three, the original trilogy. I've seen Blues Brothers a lot. But then later, I went through this period where I was on rotation rewatching these movies. The Fifth Element, Wedding Crashers, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, not necessarily in that order, but I don't know why those were the movies that I was obsessively watching at the time.
I have similar stories. Can't exactly tell you why. I think that in my college apartment, they just were the ones that were by the DVD player. So it was Sex and the City, and it was Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, back and forth. That's what the girls were doing. That's
what the girls were
yeah.
doing. I don't rewatch a lot. I will say this because our job is to watch movies and as many as we can in order to keep up and sort of have the broad scope of what's happening in any given year. I do not rewatch a lot of movies now because I feel like I would rather make room for something else. But in recent years, the one that I did rewatch quite a bit, I watched it 7 times, which is a lot for me. Was Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. I just completely loved it. It made me happy every time I watched it. It remained funny. I was so charmed. I wanted to be in that world. Yeah.
I think I've watched Inglourious Bastards probably at least 10 times since it came out. I of all of Quentin Tarantino's movies, that's the one I find to be. I love the style of it. I think Christoph Waltz is effing brilliant in that movie. Like, I just love watching just him. I think Brad Pitt is hilarious. Like, that sort of like scratches the itch as far as like style, performance, humor, writing, like all in one for me. I've watched that movie a lot since it came out. By this, like you were saying, by the scale of as I've gotten older, I rewatch things far less frequently than I did when I was younger. But Inglourious Basterds is one that it has broken above. I watch it a lot.
What number is a lot for you guys now? Because if I see a movie more than 3 times, I'm considering it a lot.
Yeah, that's
Now
at this
it's
point.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot for me now. I will say that The Godfather, when I was a kid, The Godfather 1 and 2, when I was a kid and then in high school, I had a girlfriend where we would rewatch that movie a lot. I mean, like, I feel like we watched it once or twice a month for a long period of time, and it was really funny because she then got into this habit of like thinking she was in the world of The Godfather, and like she was like, we need to make a list of who we got in our pocket and who we need to get, and I'm like, are we henchmen? What's going on?
What are we going to do with that list?
Like, which character am I? I feel like I'm Sonny. I'm unclear. Maybe Fredo.
Are we
It's
gonna do
just
this over
very
recess?
unclear. Like, what's going on?
I've already watched Hereditary 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
Once, twice. Once to review it. Once the Thursday it came out, and then once when it came out on Blu-ray. And I could. That's one I could watch it again right now.
Yeah.
Right now, this second, I could watch it again.
How many times do you watch things for honest trailers?
Usually once in the theaters and once to take notes. So twice.
Twice.
Yeah, and the taking notes process is like exhausting, and you hour and a half movie can take you like 2 hours or whatever because you're going through and doing time codes and yada yada.
Yep.
How many movies do you guys rewatch, and how often do you consider a lot? I think 4 is a lot at this point in my life to rewatch a movie, and it's not a lot of movies that I will do that with. Sometimes if there's a lot to it, like Hereditary, it feels like you want to do that to make sure that you're getting everything that's there. But I kind of miss that. I miss the phases of having movies that they felt so comfortable. You felt like you were getting into a warm, cozy bed with some movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I do it with TV a lot more now. A lot more, because I binge Friends I'm always binging it.
yeah, you
Like,
and
there's
everyone
never-
else, according to Netflix.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's never a time I'm not. So that's like, because it's easier to commit to 22 minutes
Yeah.
of rewatching something
Yeah.
that you love, which I do once a day, and
Yeah.
then sitting down for a 2:15 movie.
Yeah.
I'm just, with television, once I feel like I get it, I almost never return.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think there's almost any TV I've rewatched an entire, well, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Breaking
Game of
Bad.
Thrones.
Buffy.
Yeah.
I've done at least. That's another one. I've probably rewatched the entire series of Buffy at least 5 or 6
so
times.
good.
It's not that I wouldn't, but if
good.
it's like there's not enough time to go back
Yeah.
and watch a movie, it's much harder to watch an entire series of television.
But you
It
don't have to
is.
watch the whole series.
You just
can go
pick
back
it.
and watch
Yeah.
like I go back and watch The Fly. I don't go back and watch all of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Like, I pick the episodes I want to, because I know what happens.
Yeah,
There are
interesting.
some episodes that I've seen probably 10 times, but I would say that I have probably watched all of Star Trek The Next Generation 3 or 4 times.
All right.
That's a good one.
I've seen Game of Thrones through a few times.
Yeah.
Start to
Rewatched
finish
it.
every
Start
time?
to finish, yeah. And it does not take as long as you would. Concerningly, it takes me not that long.
1 week.
Like, I could probably do it again.
Wow.
As we head into but I'm not watching anything else in that time period, which is
Yeah.
also like, it puts you in this very weird headspace. Good. So you guys let us know what you like to rewatch and what kind of headspace it puts you in. If you want to submit a fan question, it's easy for Fan Fridays. You go to the community tab on the SJ News YouTube page, and you leave a question on this week's post. We're going to post them on Mondays, so you go through, and on Thursdays we'll go through and pick the questions. And I say we, Billy will do that for us. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
So
Ryan.
other questions. Oh, this is really interesting. This is from. Sorry, I always forget.
My beautiful
Oh,
voice.
that's
You
right.
know, I'm singing, I'm serenading you
I
guys. You don't
always
even
forget about that
care.
graphic. I'm so and continue to talk.
Fine.
Joe March says, "What is your favorite iconic movie shot, even if the film you don't like overall?" I think that's really interesting.
Well, it's my favorite movie, but the way that Spielberg used Hitchcock's technique from Vertigo for the beach
Yeah.
when the kids attacked
Yeah.
to push in on Chief Brody, but the way that you can zoom in, but the background
Pull
looks
back,
like it's
yeah.
pulling back. I love that. I mean, that's just such a. I love that it's old Hollywood meets new Hollywood at that time. And it's just so effective, and that's sort of the screw on which the whole movie turns. The entire movie pivots at that exact moment,
Yeah.
and that I just love stylistically how that was used.
How about you? Yeah, I agree, and I love that. I remember being in film school, and that's the kind of shot that you're like, I'm gonna do it, with my Super 8 camera, and then you're like so proud of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess speaking of Goodfellas, that single shot,
Yeah.
that tracking shot
Yeah,
is
yeah.
amazing. And that's one thing where weirdly, we talk about picking things out of scenes and like watching things on their own. Even if I don't fully watch Goodfellas, I can always watch that scene. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just so well done.
Yeah, tracking shots really impress me too.
I love
just
them
in
so
general.
much.
They're awesome because you just think like, how'd you do that? How did you not botch that?
How did no one mess
Yeah,
up?
mess
How
up.
did
Everybody
everyone
did
time this
exactly what they
perfectly?
had to do. I don't know. I guess it's more of a scene, but maybe a scene is a shot.
It's not, but that's okay.
Well, it's like a singular
Yeah.
moment, or
It doesn't matter. What did you love?
So many things, but in Dark Knight, the opening with the bank robbery, like that shot and how it's all laid out for
Yeah.
me.
Well,
is
that's
great.
a really important distinction, though. I mean, I think you just raised a really good point, because that there can be really long tracking shots. Like there was one even in, they're not actually one shot, but they're stitched together to look like they are
Right.
in the horror show Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, I still
Did you
haven't seen
remember?
it.
Oh, okay.
I
So
hear it's amazing.
they do this one sequence, and it's almost the whole episode, and it's meant to look like it's one big tracking shot.
But they're really cut.
They are cutting, but it's the same way as in Birdman. It really looks seamless, and so that's interesting. Like making that distinction. Like at what point is it a shot versus a sequence versus a scene? You should go watch this episode. Even just this
I have to
episode
watch
is
the whole
amazing.
show.
Yeah,
I can't think of a single shot though, like the one cut, the one that really sticks out to me. I'm sure there is one.
I'm
Yeah.
a sucker for shots that establish scale in a really interesting way. Like there's one in the 2014 Godzilla when they're doing the Halo jump.
Yeah.
Or whatever, where they have the flares, and I mean, I love how they shoot it first person. Like it's the combination
it.
of they shoot it super close up, so you're like POV,
Yeah.
and you see them get close to the monster, and you see how big he is according to them.
and it's
But-
just in those flashes.
yeah, but
Yes.
but then they go wide,
Yeah.
and it's a super wide shot, and you see their flares
Yes.
coming down, but you also see the city and
him in the
him in the back,
background.
and it's just like establishes the scale
Yeah.
of it so well.
I
And
want that as on my wall. I
Yeah.
think it's so beautiful.
I love it. The Aquaman had a
Yeah.
similar shot that was very effective with flares going
Yeah.
down into the ocean. Like I love shots that are able to convey, because I think in the big budget movies especially, scale is something that's
Yeah.
often lost. Like what's the scale you're working at? So I love when a director or DP or previs artist or whoever
Yeah.
comes up with it's a combination.
Yeah.
Are able to sort of
Yeah.
slow down and really establish like what is the scale? How big is the
Yeah.
box that we're playing in here?
There's so many that come to mind for me that it's hard to pick. There's like Jean Genet, he did a movie called City of Lost Children, and there are a number of shots in there. I mean, there's certain movies that I would pull out almost every frame and just put it on my wall. But I'm going to pick a sequence, like you, which is the
Series of shots.
yeah, Christopher Nolan in Inception, the hallway sequence. It was because it was a practical effect that at the time, I remember sitting in the theater and that came up, and I just was like, I was like excited by it in a strong way. Like I wanted to have its babies and then give birth to like really amazing short films. Like
You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, no, I think that's how that works. And so I just thought it was so ingenious and well done and gorgeous, and it fits so strongly. And that's not my favorite movie of his, to be honest. I know it's yours or some people's, and that's okay. But that sequence for me was so like original and well done and thoughtful and thoughtful. I just love it. So really good practical effects. Also in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Maybe that's why I was watching that a lot. They play with your perspective quite a bit.
For a movie that I didn't really like that much, there's the sequel to The Strangers Pray at Night. There's a shot that is, it's not a shot in the sense of like one locked off thing, it's the way they shoot it, but there's a sequence poolside that's lit very stylistically neon. But the moment when the killer comes after the person, which is usually in any other horror movie a jump scare moment where they jump out, they shoot it really interestingly where it's a wide shot, and then it's almost like a documentary style. There's music going, and they zoom in a very sort of like not a smooth zoom, and you see the killer, and there's no sound effect, anything accompanying. You see the killer come out from behind and tackle this person, and the way that it's done is so unique for the genre, and it would have been just such an easy soundtrack, and then the killer jumps out, and I the style of that moment I really liked, and I hope to see more from the team that made that film, because it's not a great movie, but I dig the style.
The Coen brothers we can get off this, like this is the question that opened up a can of worms, but the Coen brothers are always doing really, really interesting, not just they do the combination of they were playing with like the combination of cinematography and visual effects quite a long time ago. But one thing that's very simple, The Man Who Wasn't There, it's just shot in black and white, is very classic. And there's just a sequence where it's just someone pacing through. It's like a shot where the light is coming in from the windows and creating bars on the ground, and he's just pacing through it, and it's very, very classic cinematically, and just very beautiful and subtle, and I love it. I just think there's room for everything. All right, we'll get off cinematography, but you did it to us. Another one. I like this one. This is from Al. What's your favorite movie or movie moment that breaks the fourth wall, excluding Deadpool? Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's a good one.
Gosh, Spider-Verse now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sunset Boulevard.
Ooh,
I love
great, too.
that
Speaking of a great shot,
starts
too.
with a great shot through a mirror and reflected. But yeah, the fact that it opens with Deadpool and this guy saying like, "This is me and I'm dead," and it's a little bit more than the narration, because a lot of times narration is it's still inside the film itself, and I love that Sunset Boulevard, it's like he's talking to you.
Yeah.
He's talking to the audience. He's not talking about the movie. It's not like, hey, it was a cold, rainy night on the streets of Los. No, it's like he's like, hi, this is me. I'm dead. Let's see. How did this happen? And I love how Billy Wilder and team structured that.
Oh man, now you got me on Sunset Boulevard and Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and watch all the movies.
I'm stealing all of yours. Yes to everything you get. Yes, all of that.
Yeah. To all of the things.
To all the things.
All right. We say yes to all of the things.
Yes.
Here's a question from Julia. Thank you for asking this. Hi, I'm back. And you said, can you tell us more about the documentary I teased the other day? I can't. And I don't actually think you guys know about this.
I've heard rumblings.
You've heard rumblings. Okay. Basically, it comes. Do you know anything about this, Rox?
I don't think I've even heard the rumblings.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. We're going to show you about a minute from this. It's coming soon. We're excited about it. We're excited for you guys to see it. But I'll tell you, basically, quickly. Earlier this year, it came to my attention and Max Dion, our producer's attention, and all of our attention, that there is a festival in Forks, Washington, where Twilight was set that is still happening today, 10 years later. And that there's this rabid group of fans that go there every year to celebrate Twilight. Now, I know how, it's really funny because I know exactly how everyone is going to react to the word Twilight and not Zone. I do, I understand, but the thing is, we went there to figure out what was going on at this festival, who these folks were, why
Who
they
went?
loved
You
Twilight.
went?
I went with Max.
Oh my God.
And we were fascinated by these people and by this town. I kind of fell in love with so many of them. One of my favorite moments with Max was we were interviewing Catherine Hardwicke, who directed the first Twilight, and you could hear there was like a dinner party, a party going on next door, and you could hear there was like big rumbling, some big event was happening next door. And then so Max comes running, I'm just looking at the shot. I'm like, the girls. Max comes running out after the interview. He immediately goes running out to check out what's going on, comes running back in, and he goes, oh my God, it's the wedding of Bella and Edward, and they're cutting the cake, and grabs the camera and runs back out like a maniac. And I'm like, you are fully immersed now.
He's so in.
He's so in, because the cosplayers who play Bella and Edward and all of the characters, they don't break character, they're fully immersed. So they fully did this wedding, and Max, I was like, he has been taken over by the town.
How long is this event?
So the event lasts for like 4 days.
Oh my God.
And in any event, I'll show you a minute and a half of the documentary right now, and it's coming out soon. Take a look. When Stephenie Meyer was first writing Twilight, she Googled the rainiest place in the U.S., and she found Forks. A tiny little dot on a map town right in the middle of the forests of Washington State.
She said she wanted the most dreariest town on the peninsula, and Forks came up.
In the state of Washington, under a near constant cover of clouds and rain, there's a small town named Forks.
Stephenie Meyer couldn't have known how closely she'd captured the otherworldly, small community feel of Forks. And this town wasn't prepared for how dramatically it would be changed by her sparkling vampires.
People started coming to Forks because of Twilight before the first movie went out to the theaters.
Forks was resistant to this fan invasion, but these diehards simply would not and could not be stopped.
I live Twilight 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My name is Lissy Andros, and I'm the executive director of the Forks Chamber of Commerce. I read the Twilight series and saw the movies, became a big fan, and moved up to Forks 2009. Some of my favorite pieces here in my Twilight room are my neon sign, of course my stand-up Edward, you know, he's watching me right now. Can you see he's looking at me? When I first moved, they called me that crazy Twilight girl.
Are they crazy? Or are we for just refusing to unapologetically love what we love?
This is Disneyland for Twilight fans. It is crazy, right?
There's so much more to these people than just liking Twilight.
So Roxy's talking about the context that the cosplayers
Yeah,
are wearing,
those
which
are
is like
crazy.
They told me about it. It's a whole thing they have to keep, like, because they're very intense, and they transformed me into a vampire. That doesn't show up in the doc, but we have that broken out as a separate thing that we'll play
What
on.
color contacts did they put on you?
I got these ones that kind of glow in the dark. You can see, like, Max got a shot of it in like at a party where they were fully glowing in the dark.
Freaky.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really committed to it. And I was just saying, like, I know, because you guys were like, oh my God, look at that room. And that's the amazing thing to me is that is the initial reaction, mine too, by the way. But that woman, Lissy, you spend time with them and you learn about them, and I just really truly was changed my point of view. And my point of view actually going in wasn't really overly hostile, frankly. I'm supportive of people loving what they love.
I love sincerity.
You know what I mean?
Man,
I do too.
We could use more of that.
I love a lack of cynicism. I love passion, and for me, it's like whether I like it or don't isn't necessarily the point at all.
If you're not hurting anybody, do whatever you want.
Exactly. Like, I always loved Comic-Con because it was, for me, this place where you really saw people embracing their passions and whatever it is. Like, let your free flag fly. Love whatever you love to love. And I really enjoyed Comic-Con always for that reason. And when it bummed me out, the only times Comic-Con ever bummed me out was when it started to turn the other way, or when I saw fan bases acting the other way, where they were disruptive to each other or mean to each other, or not supportive of each other. Those were the only times that I didn't love Comic-Con. I don't know about you guys.
No, completely. I agree. Like, competing fan bases is the exact opposite of the point.
Yeah. I agree. So in any event, but then you don't have to like everything. I don't, I don't love everything in every movie, but I always want the people that do enjoy it to have that liberty.
I honestly cannot wait to watch that, Roth. Like, I just want to see your experience there and what these people are like. It's so cool that you did that.
Thank you. Yeah. And then I had my own journey with Twilight, but we'll talk about that on another show. I was fascinated by it and by the way women responded to it.
Wow.
I don't know if we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Dan, did you read it? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No. But that's okay.
Have you ever seen Chucky's? I'm sure you've seen Chucky's, right?
The documentary?
The documentary.
I have seen Trekkies.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Chucky's is basically, if you guys haven't seen it, it's great. It's basically about Star Trek fans on the ground, kind of at the cons and loving Star Trek. So this is what these fans are for Twilight. But the more interesting thing to me is that I guess this was true of Star Trek too, because it's so many years after it's done that the fan base is still going strong. Trek came back, but even before New Generation, there were still hardcore fans of the...
Yeah, Star Trek was weird because because you could syndicate it easily. That's when
true.
it found
That's how I watched
most of its fan base. So it was bigger 10 years after it was off the air than it was when it was on television.
True.
So yeah, Star Trek is a weird journey. And I mean, I went to Star Trek conventions when I was a kid.
You did?
Yeah, of course I did.
Were you bringing pictures?
I don't think I have any.
Picture didn't happen.
Well, people didn't carry cameras in their pockets back then.
Yeah, I
you would
guess
just
that's
go
true.
experience things and have to tell people about
What's
them.
that
It's
like?
very bizarre.
Lame.
Memory.
Wow.
I know, right? This thing
Imagine
called,
memory.
Yeah, you have to take my word on it.
My brother and I loved watching the reruns of the original Trek when we were kids, and my mom was super into, like you, Next Generation, which I like too. But I think we were more OG.
I'm TOS.
I started at TOS and then moved to Next Generation.
I
Okay.
am Deep Space Nine.
All right.
Oh,
there you go.
we run the gambit, baby.
And we're mixed, and we all get together. And I think I might still be OG. I think I might. But there's the new series coming out, so with Picard, I might go that way. You never know.
We'll see.
What Trek do you love? Thanks for staying with us today. Again, we will have that documentary coming out pretty soon. It was a labor of love. It was fun. It was weird. Super weird. That's why I like it. It's not unlike me. Weird. Bye.